Agnes Brackette was with her husband for almost 20 years, and for most of that time, she kept quiet about the abuse she and her daughter were enduring. But after a near-death incident last year, Brackette finally went to the police for help. But her husband spent less than a year in jail and is now a free man again. Meanwhile, Brackette and her daughter say they're back to living in fear, but she's no longer staying silent. This is her story.
I was 16. I was young. I didn't want to be left home alone. He would call me baby, but not like the, oh, you're my baby, like I'm acting like a baby, like yeah, I'm being childish. And he kept on saying it to me. And his house was a party house, and this is when we were still living. And he had a bunch of friends over, and they were going to go do a beer run, and I wanted to just ride to town with them. And he's like, no, you're going to stay here and finish. I was making him breakfast, and you baby. And like I walked up to him, and I just lightly, not thinking about the consequences of something like that. And he grabbed the pan of sausage links and threw it at me and scolded me with sausage links and hot grease. And him and his friends just sneered at it and thought it was a joke and walked out of the house. And I was 16, so I was like, I'm done. I'm not dealing with this anymore. So I started packing my stuff, and all of a sudden, when they got back like 20, 30 minutes later, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm packing my stuff. You scolded me with sausage grease. I showed him the burns. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. It'll never happen again. You shouldn't have slapped me. It's kind of your fault. And like then he's apologizing and kissing me and saying that he'll never do anything like that ever again. And at 16, I'm like, well, if I want to be an adult and I got to like put my big girl panties on, I kind of just got to buck it up, because I'm sure all adults go through something like this. They probably all have their moments like this. So just buck it up and take it. And he's promising that he won't do it again, so he won't do it again. And at 16, that's what I thought a relationship was. And stuff like that happened periodically for years and years. I mean, I've been stabbed with scissors. One time we were changing a plug out of a furnace, and I was the only one to be able to get my fingers into the nozzle piece of it, and I dropped it inside the housing, and he was so mad about me dropping it inside the housing, he kicked me in my lower spine so hard that I went paralyzed from my waist down, and I fell on the ground like bawling. And instead of him being concerned for me, his first instinct was start to pace and worry for himself. He's like, what did I just do? What did I just do? What did I just do? Like, I could see in his mind that he was contemplating, like, how am I going to get rid of her the rest of the way now? Because he thought he may be paralyzed for life. And surprisingly, I think he hit like a nerve or something the way he kicked me. After about 5 minutes, I got feeling back in my legs, but that was scary.
What was different about like this time that caused you to press charge, like not press charge, but like go to the police with it?
Things had been escalating for 3 years. He had, his delusions were getting so, like he was a bipolar delusional schizophrenic. And he was starting to like believe wholeheartedly that his father, his brother, and sister were poisonous and with lead, arsenic, and mercury, and that we were growing pustule bumps all over our bodies. This is what he really thought he saw in us. And he'd started slowly isolating me and my daughter more and more over a course of 3 years. We hadn't seen his father, his sister, his brother since July of the year before, like her birthday. So we were isolated up in the log cabin with him, and he was on such a rampage this day that he just pushed it too far. Like, he threatened to shoot me, either that or shoot me and leave her an orphan, then shoot himself, or shoot my knees off. Just all in this one day, and all this span of like a couple of hours. He was so just broken and furious. I had business contacts for a business that I had started. He shredded my business contact papers and threw them through the house. It started actually in the morning at like 4 o'clock in the morning. He couldn't sleep. He blamed her. He always blamed her for if he couldn't sleep, and that was because he had insomnia and he had Lyme disease, so he would get night sweats. And this time, I could sense and I could feel that it was different, so I was recording what was going on in the house in my back pocket, because it just didn't feel right. And then on top of it, one of his friends had sold him some guns. He hadn't had possession of guns for a while, at least a gun that worked. He had a .38, but the bullets had swollen in it because he left it in our camper for a period of a summer, and he was too afraid to use that one. So I knew that he didn't have an active weapon. So, but when he got these 9mm from his friend, I knew that, like, I had been walking on eggshells for a long time. Now I knew I had to tiptoe like a baby mouse on eggshells. So him, and then he was yielding the weapon and threatening us. He put it to my head. He told me he was going to shoot me in the head. Then he went outside and tried to simulate him shooting himself. And my daughter is terrified at this point. And I was like, if Daddy leaves, we're going to go to the cops. Usually in situations like this, he'll just like rampage really hard, threaten us. He likes to suffocate me or strangle me, or twist my wrists, kick me, but never, he's like, oh, you gotta be thankful because I've never punched you. Well, that doesn't make the abuse any nicer. Let's just face it. He would belittle our daughter and pull her hair and call her a little rat, and just some of the most awful things, like make her feel like she had no self-worth for the longest time. So I told her, he was trying to make her go out there and pick up his mess too. And I told her, no, just stay in your bedroom, shut your door, take out your suitcase, put it on the far side of your bed, and pack your stuff. If he leaves and doesn't take the keys with him, then we're going to go. We're not sticking around. And he got a call, because he got a call from a friend of ours. And as soon as that call came, everything about his personality changed. His tone of voice, he was like, oh, yeah, man, I'll be up in a few minutes. Like, how does 15 minutes sound? Oh, yeah, that's great. I know the person that he was talking to, and I heard the whole conversation because in our home at this time, we didn't have really good signal. So you had to keep your phone in a window and put it on speakerphone, because if you pulled it out of the window, you'd lose signal instantly. So I heard the person talking to him, and I heard him talking back to him. And I was like, this is going to be our opportunity if he forgets to take the Subaru keys. And he was in such a rampage. As soon as he got off the phone, it was back to like rampage mode. And he was demanding that me and my daughter go out there and clean up his mess and scrub the gasoline that he had poured on the floor to try to get the smell out of the house. And
He tried to light the room on fire or something.
yes, he believes that the house that is his. It's his empire. It's his legacy. And at some point in his rampaging, he had said that our daughter wasn't his. And this is like, I've learned over the years not to talk. Don't even respond to him. Just let him kind of play it out, and eventually he'll calm down, and then I'll just pick up the pieces, and I'll try not to get reprimanded. Well, he said that she wasn't his, and I was like, I opened up her bedroom door, and I said, you got to be joking me if you don't think this baby's yours. And all he heard was the word joke. And he got up, and he's like, you think I'm a... And he went out of the house, and we had just had that big storm. So we had excess of gas because we ended up getting our power back on sooner than we thought we were going to. And he grabbed that gas jug and stormed in the house and laid a line of gas as soon as he walked through the door to past our bedroom door. At the time, I didn't see it for what it was. He was trying to he was intending to barricade us in our bedroom, is what his intention was. But in this instance, and he usually always has a lighter on him, he didn't have his lighter in his back pocket. So he had to cross the room to a pile of hardwood flooring we had laid out in the house to retrieve a lighter. When he did that, prior in the morning when my daughter had come out, when he was rampaging out of the bedroom, she wanted a drink of water. And he was yelling at her not to look, like I have that one on film, like not to look at him, that he doesn't want to see her ugly face anymore, that she's just a useless little, such horrible things. But so she looked to me for a thing of water, and at this time we were only allowed to drink Fiji water because he said Poland Springs was poison springs. He had so many conspiracy theories that his brain was just bubbling with them. So I gave her a drink of water, and she put it on the kitchen table. The kitchen table happens to be parallel to her bedroom. And she proceeded to go in her bedroom, and I kind of followed her in there. So when he laid the line of gasoline and I saw that he was going to go get the lighter, I just bolted out of her bedroom and grabbed that bottle of water and threw it down onto the gasoline. And I missed like about a piece the size of like a pretty good sized basketball size piece on the farthest end closest to her bedroom door. And he came over, and he did get that one to light. And I immediately, like I grabbed a rag after I had thrown the water on. I grabbed the rag, whatever water was left in it, I put water on that, and I snuffed out the fire. And then he went freaking even more rampage. He's like, you won't let me destroy the house that way? Fine. I'm going to go and burn the Christmas tree down. He had resented the Christmas tree since the day we put it in. He hates the holidays. He hates anything that has to do with the holidays. So he had been threatening to throw it out the picture window like for weeks. On our honeymoon, he went ballistic, like nuclear ballistic. He ended up throwing a wad of keys, and when I say a wad of keys, it was like a ring of keys that big, at my hip, and split my hip like 3.5 inches in a baseball size like bruise. And I ran off from him, and I he threw a dog through the house. This is before our daughter was born. And I went up to his dad because at this time I could confide in his dad. I could get shelter there. I could have him go talk him down when he was on a really bad rampage. And in this instance, I went there and hid. And the next day he came and he tried talking to me. I'm so sorry. I'll never do it again. I'm like, we've been talking about having kids. And I was like, because he wanted somebody to leave his empire too. That's what he called everything we amassed. Like all the properties that are in my name is his empire. Our home was his empire. And I was like, if you want to have a kid with me, then this thing has to change. Like you need to, one, stop drinking because he was a major alcoholic. You have to stop doing pills because he was doing pills. I was like, you got to change how you treat me. If not, I will go. I don't care if we've only been married for like a week and a half. I will go to the courthouse and I'll divorce you. And he promised, and he did. He changed. For a whole year, he didn't do anything. He quit cold turkey from drinking. He quit pills. He treated me the best he could for a year. Like, yeah, we probably had a basic, real domestic partner squabble that wasn't so abrasive that I didn't want to have a kid with him. So I was like, okay, maybe I got through to him. Maybe he's going to change his spots. People do crazy things for love. Maybe this is what it took. And he was good with her until she was about like 2 or 3. And as soon as she could walk and talk and start making messes and be a person instead of just this baby that does nothing in a little bundle, he started resenting her, I feel like. He started hating the fact that I had to spend more of my time taking care of her instead of placating to his needs, because he was a needy person. It was like, it was always for him. What benefited him, what made him feel special, what made him feel good, it was always about him. So, and after she turned about 2 or 3, he started treating her awful, like destroying her toys, ripping the heads off her dolls and saying this could, like to her little tiny person body, like this could have been you.
What's it feel like to know now that he is like back out
Terrifying.
in society?
Terrifying. I don't feel safe in my home. That's why I'm not in my home. I don't feel safe around his family, even though I love his family. They've been my family for 19 years, but it just takes one accidental, like, oh, I know where she is. She's here, or she's doing this, or just to slip up, and he knows where we are, and he will try to find me because he thinks he owns us. He doesn't see us as people, me and my daughter. He thinks that we're his property.
Do you think this causes like less women to feel comfortable speaking out?
Yes, a lot of them don't. I just had somebody tell me the other day that I'm a champion, and I don't see myself as a champion. I see myself as very weak. I was a weak person for 19 years, but because of my daughter, I have to be strong. And I don't want other women to be scared about this situation. Yes, be scared and try to protect yourself. But if we don't try to stand up for ourselves, then they're just going to keep kicking us around.
If you or someone close to you needs help, there is shelter, emotional support, legal help, and even economic support available. You can find it by picking up the phone and calling the Maine Coalition to End Domestic Violence. The number for that helpline is 1-866-834-HELP. That's 1-866-834-4357. In the studio, Pearl Small, News Center, Maine.